In this video, I want to talk in more detail about letters of recommendation for applying to residency. Just like with the personal statement video, the goal of this video is to give you a solid foundation of knowledge and not be a silver bullet. The main topics I plan to cover include number of letters, who should you ask, how should you ask, and lastly, following up. So first, let's talk about the number of letters and the composition of those letters. You can have up to 4 recommendations, and most people do 3 or 4 recs. While you technically can send in more than 4 letters, doing so is a bad idea and probably reflects poorly on you more than anything else, so don't do it. Now, the composition of your letters is going to change depending on the specialty that you are applying into, as each specialty does things differently. The main point here is find out what the letter requirements for your specialty are. For example, in internal medicine, the recommended composition is 1 letter from the department chair or the department, 2 letters from individual clinical attendings in an IM field, and 1 letter from a research mentor or someone else non-clinical who you've worked a lot with. Now, this last one is more or less optional. Remember that your dean's letter does not count as a letter of recommendation. Next, I want to talk about who you should ask. Some of your letters might already be predetermined. For example, if one of them has to be from a department chair. However, for the ones that you have control over, you should ask an attending who you've worked with clinically, who knows you well and believes that you make an excellent position in your field. You want a letter writer who will be able to distinguish you from other applicants, and that's much more likely to happen if you ask someone that knows you really well and who you've clicked with. Now, this doesn't mean that all recommendations are equal. There will be some attendings that enjoy working with students more and have much more experience writing recommendations. These are usually the types of people that you want to ask for recommendations from. If you talk to upperclassmen, it doesn't take too long to find out who these individuals might be. Unfortunately, if you've gotten letters from your 3rd year, it's much better to get them from your 4th year. So don't use 3rd year letters if possible. Schedule sub-Is and electives within your specialty in July, August, and September of your 4th year to look for potential letter writers. Try to give your letter writers ample time to write your letter, as these are very busy people and you don't want to have to ask one of them to write a letter for you in 1 week. That will not work out for anyone involved. Moving on, how do you ask someone for a letter of recommendation? The best case scenario is if someone offers to write one for you, but that doesn't happen all too often, but if it does, always say yes. I like to ask individuals in person at the end of rotations, which worked well for me. If that person agrees, you want to get them the following 5 things. A copy of your personal statement if that's ready, a copy of your CV, a signed waiver form that's usually required, details on where as well as how to send the letter. I actually like to give my letter writers an addressed and stamped manila envelope to make things easier. And 5th, a specific time frame that you need the letter by. Some letter writers will ask to meet with you and get to know you more before writing your letter, but some may not. Lastly, how do you follow up? You can check on the status of your letters either by checking directly with your school's office or by checking on ERAS if that's available. If it's getting late and your letter writer still hasn't completed your letter, even though you've given them ample time, it's okay to send a friendly email reminder. Remember that you can submit your ERAS application without all of your letters of recommendations being finished. You can just list your letter writers for ERAS and then submit the application. Once your letter writer finishes his or her letter, that will be uploaded to ERAS and an updated version of your application will be sent out to all the programs that you've applied to. I want to emphasize that this is perfectly okay, so don't go stalking your letter writers. And of course, don't forget to say thank you to your letter writers when it's all said and done, and definitely do let them know where you end up matching. That's everything. Now, here are our take-home points. First, you generally need 3 to 4 letters. Find out the specific letter composition requirements for your specialty. Second, ask an attending who you worked well with clinically, who knows you well and thinks you'll be a good physician in your field. Third, it's better to ask in person, and if they agree, make sure to get everything to them that they need. And lastly, you can send a friendly reminder if it's getting late, but you don't need to have all of your letters in to submit your ERAS. Thanks for watching.